I think we're good, Nick.
Sweet. Oh, I'm nervous.
Are you nervous?
Yeah.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know.
You must be an expert by now.
No.
Wait, hold up. Man, it's bit of a change from the last couple of episodes. As I was telling you before, first thing, new room. So hello from the new room to our viewers. So and you might hear a bit of a drilling background noise too. So you can, the listeners can kind of, it's maybe they find it a bit more ambient noise. And
that's true. Real life here.
It's like a raw ambient noise compared to just being distracting. But good to see you, Nick.
Yeah, you too.
It's been a while.
It has.
You're looking great.
Thanks.
I like the leather jacket vibes.
Yeah.
It's winter now. It's cold.
It is.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty cold.
How have you been?
Pretty good. I feel like things have been pretty busy this whole year.
Yeah.
But things are always busy, right?
Is it the corporate life?
Yeah, a lot of things going on at work and outside of work. Yeah.
Yeah. And one of the things going on outside the work is kind of initiated by you.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't blame anyone. It's the podcast is going great.
Yeah, we've released 3 episodes now, so it's quite exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the listeners, for those that have been living under the rock, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and what that's about and things?
So I met my friend Mandeep during our internship where we currently work, and we kind of always just would send like business ideas and things like projects to each other back and forth and like never actually do anything about it. And then beginning of last year we met and we were like, okay, we're gonna like have like a day where we just do all of this like brainstorming and then like find like a project or something to work on together. So that's kind of where it started. And then in the brainstorming we were both talking about like our experiences being like young women in corporate and you know how they always say like the best like business idea or whatever is thinking about the things that your friends and family always ask you for advice on.
Right.
So that's kind of where it stemmed from, because I guess we both started in corporate like a year or two before most of our friends. So they would often come to us for advice.
Okay.
And then from there, that's kind of where the podcast stems. So we just talk about different topics relating to being like a young woman in corporate and kind of just discuss topics and things. So hopefully we can help someone out who's listening. Yeah.
For sure. And so that's what they say, like, so business, you should start something that you're being asked by your friends and family.
Yeah, I've heard that quite a few times. Like, I guess if people always ask you to like review their CVs, then maybe you should like start doing that as a business. Yeah. So that's not me at all, but
was it one of the options in the brainstorm?
No, definitely not.
Okay.
Like my spelling and stuff is not up to scratch.
So I don't know if you're allowed to say, because maybe it's future ideas, but what were some other things in the brainstorm session?
What else did we come up with? Initially we were thinking doing something catered towards high school students. And like kind of helping them settle into university life or something. But we got some advice and we were kind of told it's best to kind of cater towards the people around you and kind of your age group or kind of whatever you're part of, and then that can kind of grow with you. Whereas I think if you think long term, if we're 40-year-olds still trying to help high school students, that's not really something we would know much about anymore or about to relate with.
But with a little bit of help from TikTok and
ChatGPT.
So was that was it always going to be a podcast, or did you think about different platforms and things like that?
No, we kind of did brainstorm, like coming out with a product or a service or something like that. But yeah, we thought just doing like an Instagram and a podcast would probably be the easiest place to start.
Yeah.
And then we can at least test the idea and see if people are interested.
Yeah.
So our plan was to do like 3 months of social media and then kind of see if like people would comment or message, or if no one was interested at all, then we'd be like, cool, on to the next idea.
Oh, so that's even before releasing the first episode, right? Yeah. And I'm guessing it went well because it's 3 episodes in now.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously don't have a huge following, but I think just getting like the comments and messages from people and that interaction, and people seem to be responsive when we do polls and ask questions and things. So I think, that kind of showed that there is some interest in this topic.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, with the latest episode, there was even like a viewer question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, there's like a demand for it.
Yeah,
interest
hopefully. Yeah. How did your idea for this podcast come about?
This one, well, kind of similar to you. I always wanted to kind of do something, like whatever you call it, like side hustle or hobby or something. So my inspired by like kind of like my brother and his wife. They're always kind of like working on a business idea. And they, more often than not, they execute it pretty well. Yeah. And to me, like, that's most like, I just find that like really cool. I just seeing someone thrive with their own ideas,
It's cool, eh?
Yeah. It's like not only, I mean, it's a creative work. Yeah. Even if you're just selling stuff, you have to be creative in how you do it and stuff. But also, just being creative with that. And I don't know. I think it's something that I value a lot. That them trying to like have different source of income, which I think could lead to could open up to a lot of other opportunities too. Yeah, sure. Yeah, so inspired my brother and his wife. I started doing like different things. Like I started a website once. Just talking about like workouts because I was super into like workouts and tennis and things. Yeah. Then I moved on to YouTube, just like doing coding and programming and things like that. So they went pretty well. But so I got to around like 800 subscribers, just talking about like, like data and coding and stuff. I was pretty happy. But so that was just by myself, right? Yeah. And at one point I was like, I remember like I made the video, edited it, and I was just about to press publish. And I felt like I couldn't do this like 10 years down the road and stuff. Right. Yeah. Because kind of similar to you, I heard this thing that when you start something, your ideally it goes well, right? And if it goes well, it could be your full-time job. You should think about like the best case scenario. Yeah. And I couldn't see myself doing that like full time. Right. Okay. And then I started thinking about like what I'm into and stuff. And I was like, oh, you know what? Like in the space that I'm in, like data and programming, the kind of the stereotype, and it's true, we're quite like loners. So we don't really interact with like other people. Yeah. Let alone like a lot of people don't even show their face or voice. So they just code and that's it. Like it's called ASMR programming. It's quite relaxing, yeah. So I thought, oh, maybe I can interview them. It would be interesting to find out like if it's their full time or if they're just hobby like me, or like just how they got started, and they had way more subscribers than me, so and how they went from like 0 subscribers to tens of thousands of subscribers. Yeah. So I did like a couple of interviews with them, and I was like, whoa, like this is actually really fun. Yeah, and cool. Yeah, and I posted those videos, and it got like way less views than my other things. Yeah. But I was like, oh, like I worked on those videos way harder than my other ones. That's why I was like, oh, I kind of want to do this like all the time at least in my spare time. Maybe we'll become full time on that. But and I was like, you know what, let's do it. Let's do it. So yeah, but like you were saying, Nick, the first episode, I was so nervous. Yeah.
I know. I was so worried about what people would think for some reason, even though I was like, I'm really proud of this, and we'd literally been working on it for a year.
Yeah.
And then when I had to publish it, I was like, oh my God.
So you've been working on it for a while then. You and Amandip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So was the first episode recorded at that start of that year that you started working on? We
did about, I want to say 8 months of planning every Sunday.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So we use Notion, and we kind of have it all set up. So we've got like our business plan, our social media stuff. Like we're both like very much like planners and like perfectionists, and just like everything all sorted before we move on to the next stage. So we kind of did that, and then started the Instagram around September last year. And then that's when we started like recording the interview episodes. And the plan was to get the podcast out earlier, but some things happened and it got delayed to this year. But we did actually re-record quite a few episodes.
Is that right? Yeah.
There would be issues with the sound, which was really frustrating, or we would have said something and then we listened to it and we're like, oh, we could like do this better. Right. Or I don't know. Yeah. We've both really struggled with just putting stuff out there that's not perfect.
Right. Yeah. So it's so say the first episode, how many takes did it take?
I think that one was only 2. That was one of the last ones we recorded. So only 2.
So what was the what's the episode that took the most takes?
I think it was probably episode 2.
Okay.
Because we did try recording that back in June or July last year.
Whoa.
It's the very first episode we tried recording, and we kind of used that topic to just like play around with how we would structure it and the sound quality and how we would edit it and all of that. And we kind of, the first take we did, we listened to it and we were like, we sound like robots. Like we were just reading off a script. And then, because obviously like our episodes are quite informational, so we do need to have some sort of script or like information prepared. So then we'd like do another take where we like looked at the script less and tried to kind of have some banter. So it's taken a while for us to figure out like, I guess, what style of podcast we want to do.
True. That must be pretty rough, like finding the balance between having a script and, you know, just letting things flow. You can't really script banter, right?
We're definitely still working on it, but I think episode 3 was the last one we recorded for this season, and it's definitely the one we're most proud of. So I think we finally got there. So hopefully for next season, it's a bit better.
No, I was gonna say episode 3 to me sounded like most natural. From you guys. And so I listened to it during work. I was like, it was very wholesome. Like I was like smiling because it was so nice. Like, because I remember when you said Notion, like I remember you guys joking about like, Notion and things, and I'm like, whoa, like that just feels so genuine.
So I think it can be hard, like that balance between wanting to make it actually come across as professional and like you've actually prepared for it and it's going to be valuable for people to listen to, right? Versus showing like part of your personality as well. Just practice, right?
No, for sure. And I think are those episodes kind of recorded like all last year's kind of thing?
The interview ones were all recorded last year, but most of the ones that are just Amandeep and I were this year.
Oh, yeah. Cool. And So the third episode, was that like recorded before the weekend that it was released?
Yes, that one
nice.
was, I think.
Yeah.
We're trying to kind of pre-record, so now we're actually thinking about season 2, even though season 1's just started coming out. So I feel like when it's your side hustle, it can be tricky, right?
Oh, it
to
is
fit
tricky,
it in.
yeah. Especially with having a co-host, it must be trickier because you have to kind of like find the common time to do it. And stuff like that, right?
Yeah. You've pre-recorded a few of yours as well, haven't you?
Yeah. I've got 7 in the bank.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So this will be my 8th.
Yeah.
And I told myself like, okay, like I'll record 5 because I want to be consistent, right?
Yeah.
And then start releasing.
Right.
And I got to 5. I'm like, okay, I'll record 7. I'll start releasing. So pressing publish was hard because I was like, oh, can I do this consistently?
Yeah.
Well, that's the goal, right?
Yeah.
So every Tuesday is for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you doing one a week as well?
Yeah, every Tuesdays. Yeah.
Nice.
So
I don't know why Tuesday. Apparently, it's the best day.
How did you guys choose it?
We did research.
Oh.
Yeah, apparently, Tuesday morning's the best time to release.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Tuesday morning.
So you chose well.
6:30? What time? 6:30?
6 a.m.
Same as mine. Same as mine. Well, bit of a competitor.
Yeah.
Well, we're in different space, so we can share common listeners, you know. So how did you meet? Oh, I think you met Amandeep at your work, right?
Yeah. We both started as interns in the same cohort, and I think it was a 10-week internship. And I kind of moved up to Auckland, didn't know anyone here.
Yeah.
So I became really great friends with her and
cool.
kind of went from there.
Yeah. Was that ASB?
Yeah.
ASB, right? Yeah. And are you still there, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, haven't left.
Haven't left. And I think in the 3rd episode you said Amandeep's still an intern. Is that right?
She's a graduate.
Oh, she's a graduate. That's right. Yeah.
So she did the internship and then she still had 1 year of uni left. So she went back to uni and then came back to ASB as a grad.
Yeah.
Whereas I just decided I wasn't going back to Dunedin. So, I mean, I'd already graduated. I was planning to do more study, but I decided to just roll off the internship and start working full time.
Yeah. And that's a really interesting story. Like, I think like because you started from neuroscience and psychology background and going from that to the corporate world. Yeah,
I was actually just talking to someone about it last night. I think at uni we kind of see do engineering, become an engineer, do law, become a lawyer, do medicine, become a doctor. And you just kind of see those pathways, like professional pathways. And like that's my plan was to do medicine. But I came up and did this internship and then working in corporate, I realized there's just so many jobs and opportunities like I'd never ever heard of. And there were like these job titles and it's like, oh, what's that? Like, what does that even mean? So I think I realized there's so much opportunity working in corporate and if I was to do medicine, like that would be my career for life probably. Whereas in corporate, you can kind of just learn all these different skills and move around if you want to and probably more transferable.
Yeah. So what's the internship role you got into?
I always find it really hard to explain. So in back office, there's like, I guess there's project kind of teams. It's all agile. I don't know if you're familiar with.
Like Trello boards and
So it's kind of looking for the most valuable little projects that a team can work on with like a quick turnaround to make the biggest difference for a customer. So it's kind of just working on all these little quick wins, like improving processes and it could literally be anything. But that's the space that I was in, and straight out of uni, it was very confusing.
Yeah, that sounds like you got really dropped in the deep end kind of thing.
Like it's called the tribe, and then the little teams within the tribe are called squads. And then your meetings are called like scrums. It's like literally all this terminology, and I was like, what are people talking about? And there were all these like banking acronyms, and I was just like, I'd literally sit in meetings and have to write down all these words I didn't know and then ask afterwards what they meant.
Cool. So do you help them like prioritize project or run the project and things like that?
I was kind of just floating in my team and would just help out with whatever needed to be done. At one point, that was emailing all frontline staff once a day, updating them on what our backlog was looking like for home loans. And, other things were like trying to help optimize processes. And to do that, we would interview different frontline staff and understand what their pain points were and kind of what the easiest things we could fix for them were. All sorts of different work, which is really cool.
That is cool. And is that similar work you're doing now?
No, completely different.
Is that right? Yeah. So what's the take us through the journey of your career so far, Nick?
At the beginning of my internship, I was kind of like, I had the mindset that I was just here for 10 weeks. So
that's true.
It was like, I want to meet as many people as I can across the bank and understand exactly like what role I would want to move into.
And what was the motivation for that? Because when you went in there, you were there for 10 weeks, right?
Yeah.
And the plan was to go back to Otago to study medicine. And so you might have thought like, it's just to get extra income kind of thing, right? And that's, but it sounds like you're already quite motivated when you went in there.
I'm honestly not sure what motivated that part of me. I think part of it was probably the difficulty getting into the internship program.
Right.
I think that there were around 1,500 people that applied for 10 roles.
For 15 roles?
10 roles.
10 roles. Damn.
So first of all, I was like, I have no idea how I made it. Like I don't have a commerce background.
Right.
And B, I better make the most of this opportunity.
Yeah. That's tough. That's so tough. Yeah,
but so I was pretty much like, I just want to meet as many people as I can and kind of understand different areas of the bank and what they do. And one of the first people that I kind of reached out to and had a coffee with worked in commercial banking. And it sounded really interesting because they go and meet clients, they have to look at the financials and do analysis and all of this. And I was kind of like, oh, that sounds really interesting. In commercial, they had development programs. So they would kind of train you up on everything you needed to know for each role and you could kind of move through that way. Whereas the area I was interning in didn't have a clear career path because I think the work was kind of so varied. You'd kind of just jump on whatever project needed to be done. So I was like, oh, that sounds quite interesting. And by the end of my internship, I decided that commercial was where I wanted to move to.
And did you have did they let you just jump onto it straight away or did you have to apply?
No, I applied for 3 roles before I got an associate role in commercial. So I ended up staying in the projects team for about 8 months, I think, in total. And then moved across to commercial and my current team and then managed to get an account manager role after that.
Good on you. Good on you. So was that like the person that you had to catch up with? Was it kind of the just cold email kind of thing?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, I would just search through our company intranet.
Yeah.
And like look up different areas. So it'd be like commercial banking, and then like see who was in there, and like just email a manager or whatever and be like, hey, I'm an intern.
Yeah.
But I think that's like one of the benefits of being an intern or a grad. You can just be like, hey, I'm a grad. Like, I want to know more about what you do. And people are normally like super willing to like spend time with you.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
'Cause I'll be worried like, oh, like I'm just an intern.
No, because Amandeep's still on the grad program, and recently she's just been shadowing people in different areas of the bank.
Yeah.
So they're not even like, the grad roles are kind of separated into different areas. So she's in like the design and strategy one.
Okay.
So she rotates through those teams. But recently she came and shadowed my team for 2 days, and then she shadowed product for a day. And people are just, super willing to kind of help. And I think there's just a big focus on that development side of things.
True. Oh, well, good on ASB. Because the culture must be quite encouraging like that too at ASB to enable that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only company I've worked at full time, so I don't have anything to compare it to. But there definitely is a good culture, and people are really supportive.
Yeah. True. When you're looking for the internship, I mean, which you eventually did it at ASB, but did you think about doing something related to what you were studying then?
I didn't really know about too many opportunities related to science that I could do just for the summer.
Yeah.
I did apply for a like mini research project for that summer. But I ended up deciding to go with the internship instead.
Right.
I do feel that in commerce at uni, there are a lot more practical opportunities. Like interning and like work experience and just things to be a part of. Whereas I didn't really feel like we had that so much in science.
Yeah. I mean, I come from science too, and that's how it feels, right? Yeah. Like, I know in engineering, like for example, they have like the hours to fill, right?
Yeah.
And with that, because companies are aware there are opportunities to fill those hours. So it comes a little bit easier, I feel like.
Because that's a more practical course, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I wish, like, because I studied maths, sometimes I wish it was a little bit like that with math too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think you would have continued on and done your PhD if there were more kind of work opportunities? Or
That's a good question. I think I would have to say no. I reckon if because I maths like really it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of kind of like romance that comes out of it. Like as in like
I've never heard that before.
Well, here's a whole new romance for you, Nick. I think there's some kind of, I don't know, maybe just me being a math nerd too, but I think there's something romantic about studying when there's no kind of practical applications.
Oh, yeah.
Or like you might not necessarily make money out of it. Like an art, right? Like you might not, you might paint. It might not necessarily generate anything else except kind of enjoyment of doing it. And so I did have a lot of romance about maths, but getting outside of uni and getting in the kind of the non-academic world, I really enjoy kind of applying things to be applied. To things. And I see a lot of like, I get a lot of enjoyment and fun out of that.
Yeah.
So I reckon if I had a taste of that earlier, I would feel like, okay, I want to kind of stick around. Yeah. To keep doing this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think it's one of those things. Well, I was going to ask you too, Nick. Like for me, thinking about that sometimes isn't as easy. Because in some sense, does that mean I regret studying PhD? Because PhD is a big time commitment, right? 3 or 4 years. You get paid, you get scholarship, which is getting paid below minimum wage.
Yeah.
Plus, the opportunity cost of that is not only the money side, but also the like building up the career kind of thing. So in some ways, like you are 3 or 4 years behind, or depending on the area and things as well. But at least for me, it was. So I kind of think like I haven't asked myself the hard question of do I then regret studying PhD?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like in some sense, no. But I don't know if I'm kind of persuading myself that it's a no. What about you? Do you wish you studied something else at uni at all, or?
I mean, looking back, I don't think there's any way I would have picked anything else.
Okay.
And I did really, really enjoy my degree,
cool.
particularly the psychology. It was just so fascinating.
Yeah.
And I think no matter what, like for undergrad, no matter what degree you study, you learn quite similar skills, and it's not about the specific knowledge you learn. I think it's more about the skills you develop.
Right.
And I think if I did commerce, then yes, I would have had a more skills relevant to commercial banking coming in. But I've done courses since at work that have taught me what I need to know for banking.
Yeah.
And there is no degree for banking anyway.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And I mean, when I've been in job interviews, people are always like, oh, you've done psychology. You must understand people. And I'm like, yeah.
Of course.
I think, sure.
Well, you should have been like, oh, judging by your body language, you're skeptical of that. Well, is there some truth to that? Like understanding people and studying psychology?
I don't know. I think it's hard to know because I have studied it, but like it's not something I really think about.
Right.
Like the course, at least at Otago, is very theory based, and you're learning a lot more about like if there was like a lesion in this area of the brain, like how would that affect how someone behaves?
Right.
It's not about like reading people and like all those types of like workplace kind of things. So I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah, the degree was very theory based. So
True. So maybe you can see.
I just nod and smile like, yeah, sure.
I reckon that's a great body language, Yeah. Nod and smile, that gets you a long way. Yeah. No, but that means you can see people and guess which part of the brain they have a lesion.
Great skill to have, right?
You should get your brain checked. Cool.
I think it's probably more like the skills, like being able to read a piece of research and kind of critique it or think about different things.
Right.
I don't know. It's probably more that side of things that I would say has been beneficial rather than the actual like facts that I learned. Yeah,
critical thinking.
Yeah,
things like that. I guess like writing. Do you do much writing?
A little bit. We did do some writing. It was definitely a skill to be able to read like 50 different pieces of research, right, and then condense it down, which I'm sure is what you had to learn as well. True.
And ChatGPT is doing that.
I wish we had that when we were at uni.
So do you much use ChatGPT now or no?
A little bit. I did get it to write a podcast script and come up with some topic ideas.
Yeah. Oh, nice one.
Yeah.
How did it? Because I was struggling with like the name of it, like the name of the podcast. I didn't come up with the name until like I was like 3 podcasts in.
Right.
And I ended up stealing another podcast title. But I asked ChatGPT like, this is what I want to do. What should my podcast be called? and he was throwing some ideas, right? And I kind of felt a little bit like felt a bit dirty choosing one of those. Did you feel? Like I kind of felt like the humans being defeated by a machine. So I felt
There's a bit of that, isn't there?
Yeah. I was like, I don't want to pick these. Like,
Yeah.
did you feel those at all, or am I just being a bit humanist or?
Yeah, I mean, I think
speciesist?
the skill that school and things is going to move more towards is going to be being able to kind of position the questions so well that it can come back with what
That's
you're
true.
wanting, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a skill in being able to ask it for what you want. So I guess that might make you feel a bit better.
Yeah. So well done for asking. Because you studied psychology and neuroscience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's kind of related to AI, right? Or not as much?
I mean, I think you can probably relate psychology and neuro to pretty much everything because it's about the brain and like how humans behave and react to things. So yeah, I think it probably would have been a big part of developing it.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, if there's a human at the end of something, then you've got to think about all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Do you know much about like the neural links that Tesla's like working on?
No, I haven't actually looked into that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, no, I don't know much, so I was gonna ask you what's going on with that.
No, it is a bit scary, I think.
Oh, it's scary. What do you think about that? Like after studying human brain, because I think all these like ChatGPT and things, the core of it is to mimic human brain, right? Yeah. What do you think? Are you scared about like what might come out of Neuralinks, and are you worried, or is there still distant future you reckon, or?
I just think about like movies like The Matrix or like even Wall-E, and I'm like, one day are we just gonna be like sitting in those like big chairs with no reason to move?
Yeah, I know, right? Just our goggles on.
Yeah.
And just talking to each other, we don't have to speak.
Yeah. And like with the metaverse, I haven't heard much about that recently, but if we can do like work meetings in the metaverse and we don't actually have to be in a physical location, like it's pretty scary.
The metaverse has kind of gone downhill since it came out, which gives me a bit of hope that maybe we're still further away than we think. It's been work done by like Facebook with a Meta company, which is like one of the bigger companies in the world. So maybe it's apparently they had a metaverse fashion show like the other day. and from what I heard, it didn't go down well. Yeah, which you can kind of guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Doesn't really interest me too much. Like,
no, at the end of the day, it's just like, it's not like physical reality, right?
Physical,
so I feel like seeing a fashion show virtually just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah, I think I watched a video on it, and someone had a good point. Like, I think it's the physical part of it is part of it, but there is still kind of appeal to it because people play games and people buy cosmetic skins.
True.
But they said like this one's a bit, so that's what kind of they're trying to do. But this one's a bit different. Like games are a bit different because you get to use those skins. You play in games and you see it and other people see it.
Yeah.
Whereas with metaverse, right now at least, no one sees it.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does make you think a lot about what the future, even within our lifetime, is going to look like. I know, right?
Yeah. Someone said we'll be the last person, last generation where we wouldn't have any like modification.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like enhancement, like because say like you can get ChatGPT installed in your brain, and everyone does it, then it's tough competing against ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
For sure.
So you might want to do it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might just be required in the workplace one day, right? Like,
In your CV or your announcements.
yeah. Yeah, because I always just think about like a really simple example, which is like, I wonder if my children would ever have to learn to drive, and I don't think they would.
You don't think they would?
I don't know, like with the technology and self-drive cars.
I know, right?
Like that might be something they just never have to learn, which is crazy.
I was thinking like just the other day, look, we're going out for dinner tonight with some friends, and we're like sorting out like sober drivers and if we should take Uber or, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking like, man, I reckon in like 30 years down the road, this will be like such an ancient problem.
Yeah, that's
You know
true.
what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I reckon, you know, we would talk about like, you remember when we had to used to like stay sober to drive? At least we have to pick a sober driver. sober D will not exist anymore.
Yeah.
I reckon.
That's
can
so
see that
interesting.
happening.
Yeah, I kind of just picture a world where it's all self-drive, like Ubers, and you just like walk out to the road and then, I don't know, the chip in your brain or whatever tells the car like where you want to go, and you just hop in and it goes like.
Yeah. Like, you don't even have to book it. You just kind of like communicate that way. Oh my goodness.
Crazy.
There, another crazy thing like, have you heard of MK Ultra?
No.
Oh, MK Ultra is like, well, I don't know how much of it is, well, it's a legit project. I think it was run by like FBI or CIA or something. And they were looking into like brainwashing people and, basically what you can do to control people, like make them do whatever you order them to do, kind of thing. Well, I'm getting a bit sidetracked here because I was getting into something else. So in China, apparently they conducted, well, it's not as reliable because it's coming from China. So a lot of it is probably filtered and there's other information that's not true in there. But kind of common knowledge is that they did this study that's kind of similar to MK Ultra, but a little bit different. But they tried to solve STDs in infants. So I think something like injecting or like the pregnant ladies taking pills or injecting them with like certain experimental things. They were trying to like, I don't know, develop immunity to STDs or HIVs or cure it or one of those two. Yeah. I should know better. well, something like that.
Yeah.
But, the main kind of the, what happened to that was, I don't know if what they were aiming for was successful, but apparently like the common things with those babies that were born with that, apparently their IQ was higher than average. Oh. That's pretty interesting, yeah. So, yeah, and it's kind of, makes you think like, say, you're pregnant and someone says, oh, like if you take these drugs, your kid will be smarter. Like, would you not want to do that,
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And kids that didn't do that, they might feel a bit bad.
Yeah.
Missing out.
I think we're going to have a hard look at what our values are, right?
Hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the AI ethics and things, the privacy and...
I mean, I saw the developers of ChatGPT actually wanted to put it on hold until there's more policy around it.
Yeah. That's what Elon Musk was saying too, that we're moving way too fast with the AI.
I mean, we're at risk of so much misinformation, right?
Yeah, because ChatGPT, even then, like, do you use much of that, ChatGPT?
A little bit, but I don't use it like day to day.
Right. Because we use it at work.
Right.
And so we only know it from like kind of the coding side.
Yeah.
But quite often like, how do we do this? And it spits out and we copy and paste that and it wouldn't work. And we tell them it wouldn't, because that's a kind of a form of misinformation, right?
Yeah.
And then we tell them it doesn't work, and then they say, "Oh, like sorry about that. It tries to correct itself, but quite often it can't. Right, there's like a limit to it. Yeah. There's definitely a limit to it. So it's not perfect right now. But yeah, like, you know, it would be so difficult for the model to tell what's real news.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you think about writing an essay or something at uni, normally you have to look up a topic and go through all of the research and find all the different like points you want to make, and then kind of consolidate that together, and you kind of know where that information's come from because you go direct to the source.
That's true.
But if you can just search up in ChatGPT, write an essay on this, and then I'm pretty sure it can do the references for you throughout it. But like, who would actually put in the effort to go and check the like original sources? Yeah. They'll just be like, oh, cool, that's it, copy paste.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. Because you'll be competing against all the other people that doesn't check it and just copy and paste that. And I think even with kind of the bias of things too, because you'll be biased. Like just because you're modeling it based on like the real data. Yeah, I think there was experiment to like say something good about I think someone typed like say something good about Donald Trump, and like there wasn't much. Right. Like, well, like I don't know. Like I think it like kind of refused to do it. It didn't refuse. It can't refuse to do it. But that was different to that versus say something good about say Bernie Sanders or something. And apparently there was like a visible difference. Yeah. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Yeah. I guess everything is biased.
Yeah. You can't really help it.
But I guess with AI, a lot of people wouldn't expect that. Yeah.
But you're kind of still basing it on what humans written.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the data comes from that and things.
Yeah, I recently read a book. It's called Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
And that's about gender bias in data. And yeah, my flatmate who worked with Keita was like, how did you not know all of this? Of course, data's biased. And I was reading it and I was like, this is like mind blowing. Yeah. Like our whole like society is created off this like data, which was like based mostly on studies on males. Yeah. I was like, I've never thought about that before.
I think one of my friends read it. And I think he was saying stuff like the voice recognition and stuff like that. Yeah. So that is pretty mind blowing. I never thought about that. Yeah.
It's really interesting.
After hearing your podcast, I requested it at the library.
Nice.
But I'm in queue. 20 other people want it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I haven't actually finished it yet. I got most of the way through and then, I don't know, it's like a really good book and it gives you so much information. But by that point, I was kind of like, I've just read so many of the issues. I just need a break from that.
Do you usually read books a lot or?
I actually just brought a Kindle in December. Cool. I didn't used to read anything. Yeah. And I've just started reading. The Kindle's helped a lot.
Oh, yeah. Nice. So you're reading Invisible Woman? Yeah. Anything else that you've read recently?
I've been reading a lot of fiction books, actually. Yeah? Yeah. I've been trying to get into it.
Okay. Like what?
Yeah. I've read quite a lot of Colleen Hoover.
Okay.
No, it's like one of the TikTok famous books.
Oh, cool.
It's been good. I feel like reading's really beneficial because it kind of just gets you out of your world into another world and like, Yeah, for sure. By the way, I've got some drinks. Nice.
So there's non-alcoholic, and you're going to bottomless brunch after.
I am, yeah.
So I was like, you might want to head start it. Yeah. So I've got a bit of Somersby too. Yeah. Would you like anything?
Yeah, I'll grab one of those.
Yeah, go for it. Go. Yeah, go right after you.
Sweet.
It's 10 a.m. Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for being here, Nick.
Yeah, thanks for
Very good
having me.
No, it's great to have you here. Your podcast, for those of you who don't know, it's She Takes on Corporate. She Takes on Corporate. So you're doing it like seasonally?
Yeah, so our plan is to do 8 episodes per season. At the moment, we're trying to figure out how long of a break we can take between each season without our listeners dropping off.
Right.
So we're just, figuring that out now. But yeah, we've started planning for season 2 already, which is quite exciting.
Wow.
Yeah.
So have you got all your first season ready?
Yeah. It's all ready to go now.
It's ready to go.
Yeah.
And it's 3 seasons, 3 episodes already.
Yeah.
Yeah. Goes by quite quick, huh?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think keeping up with like the social media, that in itself takes so much time. I can see how it can very quickly become a full-time job for people just based on the amount of time and effort it takes.
For sure.
But yeah, it's been fun. And like you said, it's kind of uses the creative side.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. And my job is a lot of numbers. So it's really nice to have a project on the side where can talk about like colors and like different topics to discuss, and it's been fun.
Oh, your social media is like really professional.
Thanks.
Like the
we
videos
put like our color palette together and everything.
you talk about the color palette in your last episode, right? Oh, who came up with like the kind of the design, and because even the logo and stuff. I love the logo.
Thanks. We got someone on Fiverr to do the little image of us too.
Yeah, that's cool.
But we created all of the like post designs on Canva. They're all templates that are ready to go. And the podcast cover art as well. Yeah. I noticed that because I think it's like there's like a drawing of you two at the front, and then the writing like She Takes on Corporate, and I noticed there's like a little C at the corner. And I was like, damn, like it's just little details like that. I was like, whoa, like that's cool. It just makes it look so professional. We took a lot of inspiration from Girls That Invest. They have the little G on each post, and
cool.
There's another one called Girl Boss that has a little G as well. And it just kind of keeps it consistent. And I think if the post comes up on someone's page, you want them to recognize it as yours straight away. So
this is going big.
These are like all the little things we research before like even putting anything out.
But that's cool though. I feel like that's what you need to do to have a brand. Which is the 3rd episode of your podcast.
And then we chose blue as our main color. We've got some other colors in there, but blue's like the main brand color, I guess, because we found that a lot of Instagram accounts and things catered towards women are always pink. And we were like, we just don't want to do like the females in pink kind of thing. We wanted to do it a bit different. So
Oh, good on you. And blue is a good one too, because I feel like blue boys. Pink girls, so
I don't know.
Came out pretty well.
We're trying to post every day at the moment.
I noticed that. Is that you doing it, or do you share that?
We share it. So Deep does the posts and the reels and everything, and then I do the stories and the editing of the podcast. So we've kind of separated it out like that, but we have a table in Notion where we have so many like ideas for posts. Like it's at the beginning we found it really hard to come up with ideas or know kind of what we wanted to like post about, but we really refined kind of our pillars on like what topics we'll do. And now whenever we come up with an idea like in the shower or whatever, I just like go and like add it into our little table, and Amandeep just like grabs all the ideas and puts them in Canva and posts it. So trying to become like efficient and have like the least resistance possible to just get stuff out there.
Yeah. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
So what's going on with Notion? Should I be using this? Or
you should.
Is it free?
Yeah.
Okay, good start.
I've got Keita onto it, so I feel like you'd like it.
So what's Notion? It's like a note-taking app, right?
Kind of. A lot of people use it at university now. I'm not going to explain it very well because like I don't know like computery stuff. Okay. But like it's kind of like a mini website, and you kind of just create it however you want to. So you can create your pages, and you can create like links to things, and like I don't know what it's called, but like you can we can have a page, like we've got a dashboard, and it's got our tables with our social media, and then a table for our podcast, and then a calendar at the bottom.
Right.
And then on there I'll have like podcast, Instagram, our brand, business plan, all of these headings, and you can click on it, and then that takes you to the next page. So it's kind of
like so it's like more of a dashboard than
kind of. That's kind of how we've set it up. But you can do like note taking on it, set up tables, calendars. We've got a Kanban.
Kanban board kind of
to doing done. Yeah. So we also use that for other things.
True.
Yeah, no, it's really good. You should get on it.
There's because I've looked into different note-taking apps. Did you do that research on that and kind of decided on Notion, or is Notion kind of coming from the corporate world?
No. Amandeep was already using Notion for her personal life.
Okay.
So she had a page set up for like all her personal stuff, her goals, everything, like crazy organized.
Yeah. I need to have Amandeep on this too.
Yeah. So we kind of set up something very basic to begin with, and then kind of created it to tailor how we want to run it now. But
True.
Yeah, no, I haven't used it at work, but I think it could potentially be really useful. Yeah.
Bring it to the agile workflow.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one called like Ink Drop or something.
Okay.
Yeah, and that one was cool because like the creator of that, there's like a solo developer, and he has like a YouTube channel,
right?
And he does ASMR programming. That's how I know that one.
Nice.
But his videos are like he's from Japan. Have you been to Japan before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you like traveling, right?
I want to. Yeah.
Oh man, like I haven't done much traveling, just a little bit, but Japan is one of my favorite countries to travel to. Yeah. And a lot of people say it too.
Yeah. So, one of my colleagues just went there and it looked incredible.
Oh my goodness.
She saw like the cherry blossoms and everything, and just the food looks so good.
Food's so good. People are so friendly.
Yeah.
It's so easy to travel because I don't speak Japanese. Still so foreigner friendly.
Right. Okay.
And just anywhere, the pictures you take anywhere, just pure vibes. You can't take bad photos.
Do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram. Yeah, it's it's just a different world there. Have you seen much like Japanese like movies and things like?
No, I haven't actually.
True. Like there's like the studio that makes like the animation movies like Spirited Away and but so there's like a certain like nostalgic feeling you get from those movies. Yeah. And Japan's like it's just that.
That's exactly
in like real
that.
life. Yeah.
Right. That's cool.
You went to Europe recently, right?
Yes.
Yeah, how was that?
I did. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It's my first time.
First time in Europe, yeah.
Yep, first trip away that wasn't with family as well.
Oh, big step.
Yep, adulting. Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. I would love to move somewhere soonish.
Is that right?
I think. Yeah.
Yeah. What would happen to the podcast?
We'll keep going.
Yeah. Just do it over Zoom or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Where would you move to Europe?
I don't know. I've got a few friends who are planning to move to Australia and then some that are planning to move to Europe.
Yeah.
And I just don't know how you decide.
Right. Yeah.
Like if you could literally go anywhere, how do you decide where to go?
It's too many options to decide. So
Yeah.
you end up not deciding.
I did really love Amsterdam.
Oh,
I
yeah.
only spent one full day there, but I loved it. And I was like, I could totally live here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not sure.
That's promising.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's because you went to quite a few places.
Yeah, we did. It was only 4 weeks, but we went to quite a few countries.
Yeah. Must have been pretty hectic.
Yeah, it was quite full on.
Yeah.
Although we did have like the Christmas period where like Christmas Day nothing was open,
Yeah.
so we just had to like kind of relax that day.
Yeah.
So we did have some breaks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have like a notion?
No,
Oh,
but we
don't
did
lie.
have. Yeah, I didn't want to. That's what my mum's like. She will like plan everything for a trip like down to the minute.
Yeah.
And like we're going to this restaurant, then this one, and I don't want to be like that.
True.
We had like in mind. Obviously, we had like the trains and stuff pre-booked, but in terms of what we'd do each day, we just had a list of things we'd like to do in that location, and then we kind of just chose on the day what we feel like doing. So it was a really nice way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need a bit of both that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I think I used to be a bit like that. Just down to the minute planning what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's only so much you can do
Yeah.
to follow that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Amsterdam for you?
Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. We can only get a visa for 1 year there. So, and I hear that finding accommodation there is quite tricky.
Oh, is that right?
So I wouldn't want to spend 6 months trying to find somewhere permanent to live and then only have 6 months left.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. But there were no issues with language barriers there. So,
Everyone speaks English.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or maybe you speak Dutch, Nick.
yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah. True.
Would you live overseas?
I think it would be a good experience.
Yeah.
I mean, I lived in Korea for the first half of kind of growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And I moved here, so I guess I have some overseas experience.
Yeah.
But I was a student living there. So it would be cool to like try out, like, for a year, live somewhere, and then, But right now, no plans to, at least. Not sure. Like, it kind of makes me think how much I'm missing out by not traveling as much as other people do, and
I don't know. Before the trip, I didn't really know if I'd like traveling or not. Like I was just very unsure because it was kind of like my first big trip away. But I absolutely loved it.
You loved it.
Now I'm like, okay, I want to go and see more.
Yeah. So before this trip, where had you been?
I'd been to Australia, Pacific Islands, Thailand, which was really cool, and the east coast of America when I was quite young. Yeah, so they were all kind of trips during school with family, where obviously my parents would just organize everything and I'd just tag along. So I really enjoyed like actually being able to choose what we wanted to do and kind of planning it all. Yeah.
True. You mentioned like girls you invest, and is it Girl Boss? Yeah. Are those podcasts that you were kind of into before starting your own?
Yeah. I don't listen to the Girl Boss podcast. I just follow the Instagram page. But I started listening to Girls That Invest from quite early on.
Okay. Day one.
Yeah. Have you heard of them?
I've heard of them, but I haven't listened to them.
Yeah. It's pretty much like investing 101, tailored towards women, probably young women. And it was quite cool watching their journey because I kind of started from like near the beginning and then now they're like doing TED Talks and
They're
like
huge now,
doing
right?
like Forbes like interviews and like
right?
all
Yeah.
sorts. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, that's you soon, Nick. You and Lemon Deep.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So it's about investment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you into investment? Are you
Yeah.
interested in that?
I got into it actually midway through uni.
Oh, cool.
I think I just came across it on YouTube one
Yeah.
day. So I had a little Sharesies account.
Oh, yeah, nice.
When I was still on my student loan, I'd put like $2 in a week.
Can you invest just $2?
Yeah.
Isn't there
Yeah.
like fee like?
There is now. Back then, you just pay a percentage.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it was fine.
Right.
But now there's no point in doing that. Yeah. I think you pay like $3 a month now. So putting $2 in, it's not going to cut it.
Oh, but it's compounding.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So in 50 years, you might have like, I don't know, $100 profit off that. You know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Everything going well, you know.
Yeah.
No, so
Yeah.
that's something that you're doing currently, like
Yeah.
investments and shares.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. What's the portfolio like, Nick? Are you allowed to
It's
share
terrible because I was investing like quite a bit when I started working full time, and then I bought a house
that? Yeah, of course.
October last year, so
Yeah.
I had to pull it all out for my deposit, which is
okay.
stupid. And it was when stocks were down, so
Oh,
I was
right.
like, you know what, like it has to be done.
Well,
So I've started from scratch again.
well, that's going from one investment to another investment, though.
Yeah.
So,
It's like stocks are down, but house prices are also down. So
Right.
surely it kind of like balances out.
cancels out for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And it's you get somewhere to live and
Yeah. No, it's been cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
no, it's a nice house, no?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's little, but it's good. It's all
You've
we
done it
need.
up nicely.
Yeah.
Did you have to remodel, like renovate anything at all? Or?
Yes. The interior, we didn't do anything to the kitchen or bathroom, but there were like holes in the walls and like it was pretty messy.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, got it repainted and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, not too much that I had to do to it, which was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hoping it will be a nice wee like investment property when I do move.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
So when you invest, like what do you invest on?
I've just been investing. I do like the global funds, like automatic
Oh, is that index
investment,
fund?
and they it goes into I think it's 6 different like countries funds. So
Yeah.
at the moment I'm just doing that because I don't have the time now to look
Yeah.
up individual stocks and actually track it properly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean they say investing in a fund is better anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm doing similar thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, index funds or managed funds or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, and then just letting them do their thing.
Yeah, you just kind of put it in and leave it, eh?
Yeah.
Forget about it. Yeah.
Well, I was at a negative like I don't know, a couple of months ago. Because it started dipping like at the was it end of last year or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably from October onwards it was pretty
right?
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, started dipping, and I was at a negative, and I think I only turned positive like a couple of months ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny, like thinking about that. Like, like until that time, I would have made more money if I just put it in the bank.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, interest rates are pretty high now as well. So,
Yeah.
like, putting it in a term deposit or something
Right,
isn't
right.
terrible either.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's funny.
I think it's great that our generation does have access to the resources to be able to do that though, right? Because like my parents only started thinking about their retirement like 5 years ago.
Is
And
that
they were
right?
like,
Yeah.
oh my God, we don't have a plan.
Yeah.
But we've got like KiwiSaver and lots of my friends invest in funds and things. So yeah, I think it's cool that we're kind of set up to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Same with my parents. they're only really thinking about it like, I think, same like 5 years ago maybe. And all their money was in the bank, in the bank account kind of thing. But yeah, I'm kind of like you. Like I just found like a YouTube. I actually read that personal finance book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah. I read that too.
You read, yeah. From then I'm like, oh man, like I need to get my money working. What did you think about that book?
I mean, it is like quite a few years since I read it now. I did like the general concept of it. And I think it's a really good book, I guess, for beginners to kind of understand why you would want to invest and kind of what it's all about. Yeah, the comparison was quite interesting, and how like if you do have more money or more investments, you do get a lot more opportunities and things do become easier for you. Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I think before that, I didn't have any concept of getting your money working, investing and things. But yeah, after reading that, that's when I got onto YouTube. Looked into investments, and there's so many like finance YouTubers now.
Oh, there's so much.
There's a lot, yeah.
I heard they've got like good. There's like a name for it, but good kind of conversion from clicks to money, like clicks to like the finance world. Yeah. So
it's pretty interesting. Yeah.
So who do you follow, Nick? Where do you get your information from?
I watched a guy called Graham Stephan.
Okay.
On YouTube. It's an American guy. He started out just talking about like investing in property. But his videos were very much like just the basics, which was what I needed to begin with. Yeah. He actually works at the real estate, or used to work at the real estate firm, which is what's selling, like the firm that's followed in selling Sunset. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix.
Oh, well, I've heard it from Kita.
She loves it. Yeah, that's where he worked. So it was quite interesting, like watching his videos back in the day, and now they're selling Sunset, and I'm like, it's interesting. I honestly don't follow too much anymore. It's more like at work reading the economic updates and the news and all of that. And I don't follow many YouTubers or anything anymore. True. Yeah. True.
Do you say you're like commuting or something? Is that like, are you usually listening to podcasts? Yeah, true. Yeah. What's your top 3?
Ooh. I try to listen to the NZ Herald one to just keep up with like the general news. Yeah? Yeah.
So you're the one that listens to...
Again, Kita hates it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's definitely, a lot of it's biased. I definitely feel that coming through, but it tends to be the opposite kind of opinion to what I guess sits with my values. So I like to try and challenge myself and listen to other views.
Good on you, yeah.
The Grace Beverley podcast, I've been really into that recently.
Oh, she's like interviews like CEOs, is that right?
Yeah, I've just started following her recently, and it's quite interesting seeing how she grew her businesses and things. Yeah. So, yeah, that one, and probably Girls That Invest. True. Not so much anymore, but I used to be really into that. Yeah,
no, true.
Yeah, what are your top podcasts?
Oh, what are my top 3s? Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Have you listened to much Joe Rogan?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's, I mean, this podcast, like, kind of, but when I wanted to start a podcast, I wanted it to be like a long form. And that's kind of inspired by Joe Rogan a little bit, because I enjoy like long form. Yeah. So I think I can recommend his podcast to anyone really. Like, he's like a difficult one to recommend, because he just interviews so many different people.
Right. Yeah.
So I would say I recommend that. I watch like just random things, but if you're interested in one of the guests, his one would be a good one.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Because it's a long form, so I feel like there's like you obviously listen to their interview, but you kind of get to know them a little bit more personally too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being it long form, I feel like, you can only put on, because I feel like people put things on naturally if there's a camera and microphone.
Yeah.
But I think being long form, you can only do that for so long, and then until that,
Yeah, that's so
it
true.
goes away. So I find it super interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're interested in that, another one is what else do I listen to? Well, I recently went to podcasts like a summit.
Ah.
There was one in Auckland.
Ah, yeah.
And I met a friend. Yeah. Shout out to Shane. He's such a nice guy, and he's doing a podcast with his friend Uncle Jack. Have you heard of Uncle Jack? Apparently, he's quite big on TikTok.
I'm not sure.
Or Uncle Tix. You might have heard of Uncle Tix.
I actually heard about him on the radio driving
really?
the other day.
Is
Yeah.
that right? Yeah, I think he's got I just saw a billboard with him on it. So Uncle Tix and Uncle Jack, they're flatmates.
Right.
So during pandemic, they started like TikTok accounts to get like they have separate TikTok accounts, but they started at the same time. And they kind of grew big at the same time, kind of thing. So,
interesting.
So Shane is really good friends with Uncle Jack.
Right.
So they've got a podcast together called Hundy Hippos. And it's a comedy
so
podcast.
funny.
Yeah, talking about like fandom things like Marvel movies and the episode I heard was on Marvel movies, but they know so much, like Batman, the DC comics and things.
Yeah.
And they're so funny too.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I've been listening to a bit of Hundy Hippos. And there's one called this podcast was, at least the name of it was inspired by, do you know Emma Chamberlain?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I am a big fan of Emma Chamberlain and I listen to her podcast. Anything Goes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So Emma, if you're listening to this, because
It's so funny.
her podcast name is Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain. So yeah, mine is Everything Goes with Pascal.
Nice. Still different. Still different.
Still different. Well, I thought about like stealing, like playing into it, so I can go maybe full way and I say like Everything Goes with Pascal Chamberlain. But I thought that's being a bit creepy now. So I'm not doing that. But yeah, Emma, if you're listening to this, let's collab. Otherwise, there's also one what is it called? How to Fail. Have you heard of that name?
No, I haven't.
That one's a really good one.
Okay.
That was like this at the very start of my podcast journey. How to Fail. It's this woman called Elizabeth Day.
Okay.
So she talks to people about their biggest 3 failures in life. And it's really inspiring. So from her side, like her background is like, she was a journalist and a successful journalist, and she was married and they were, trying to have a baby. So, if you look at it from outside, in a way, perfect life kind of thing. But of course, there are problems. She said like it was quite a tough marriage.
Right.
So she got, and while that's going on, and probably part of it was they were trying to have a baby, but they were having a lot of issues, and that's tough on her as well, because one of her dreams is to be a mom.
Yeah.
So tough on both of them really, and then eventually through that they got divorced.
Right.
And after that, she was still trying to have a kid. So I think when they got divorced, she kind of realized that, man, like everything was going well and now it's not, kind of thing. So she kind of, I think she felt like she needed an outlet to be vulnerable. And
Yeah.
and then she was talking to her friends about it, like, oh yeah, the marriage and the baby and not going well and other things. And she thought, oh, like she got a lot of help from talking about that. And her friends started sharing their kind of failures too.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, there's a lot of benefit to be gained by like being vulnerable and having that platform. So she started a podcast called How to Fail. So yeah, she interviews people about their 3 biggest failures in life. And it's kind of, it's somewhat, you know, like sometimes it's kind of funny. Like it's interesting, like some guests just kind of, they pick, I guess, a bit more trivial failures. Some guests, you know, quite life altering failures. And so, and she's such a good interviewer too. And and she's got such a, like, you know, I feel like she has a lot of experience and empathy. So yeah, that's a really cool one. Yeah.
I really love how it's the kind of authentic content that's doing really well now.
For sure. Yeah. She was saying it's funny, like, it's like her biggest success in life coming from like collection of her failures kind of thing.
Yeah.
And for me it was a cool one because like she talks a lot about her experience as a woman going through is it IVF process? Yeah. Trying to
it sounds really tough.
It sounds so tough, right? I feel like not only the physical side of it, but mental side of it. And she was also saying like how a lot of the language or the structure and the process of it kind of makes you feel it's not really catered for women. As an example, like she said, like some of the languages they use, they will say, oh, you have failed to respond to this treatment, and that implicitly kind of puts the blame on the woman, right? Rather than that, another way to say it could be the treatment failed you kind of thing, right? So I was like, you know, as a man, that's something that I've never had to worry about, I guess, and never really paid extra attention to. So kind of like you listening to New Zealand Herald, I guess it's like me being exposed to different side of things that I was never aware of and wasn't really aware of. So, and she talks a lot about she's a self-claimed feminist. So she talks a lot about the feminism ideas and what it means to her. And yeah, she talks to a lot of, and it's good to hear her engage with her guests on that topic, like male and female. And that's really interesting, I found.
I'll give that one a listen.
How to Fail, Elizabeth Day. And she's similar. She's got like a lot of guests on. So you might find guests that you already know, and they could be your kind of the gateway into that.
Awesome.
So stealing her idea, Nick. What are your 3 biggest failures in life?
Oh. Honestly, like I feel like I don't think about the past too much.
Really?
Yeah, I think my perspective on things is that even if something didn't go well, like I'm still the person I am today because of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think my biggest one would probably be at uni, kind of just making decisions based on what I thought other people would want for me or based on what other people wanted for themselves instead of trying to get to know who I am. And that's definitely what led me down like the road to go to medicine. Kind of to like please family and all of that. And I think also at Otago, there's kind of this whole culture around you're a nobody if you're not doing like medicine or dentistry.
Is that right?
Yeah. Like if you decide to do physio or not even do a professional course, like you're setting yourself up for failure. That's kind of like what the culture's like there. And I think I kind of played into that and was like, well, if I want to be the best, I have to do medicine.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I don't know if I'd say that's a failure because I've learned from it, but yeah, that's definitely something I do think about quite a lot.
True. Yeah, a lot of failures they talk about on the podcast is like a little bit like that. Like, she, like Elizabeth, one of her, she says, I guess getting divorced is one of her failures. But yeah, like kind of like you, she wouldn't be as happy now if she didn't get divorced, you know? Like, you know, like you don't want to be with person that you don't enjoy being with.
Yeah, I guess divorce would be like, in the sense of looking at it from what is like how society functions, that it's a failure. But like personally to her, it doesn't sound like it was a failure, right?
Yeah.
It was something really positive in the end. Yeah.
For sure. So, do you reckon it was for you wanting to be a doctor? Was that something that you kind of felt like you got pressured into a uni kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I went to uni not knowing what I wanted to do. And then literally a couple of months into my first year, I was like, I have to become a doctor.
Is that right?
Like I didn't even question it. It was just like the culture around me, especially when you're living in halls, like that is your entire reality. I just don't think I ever gave myself the space to get to know me or like what I actually want out of life. But I think everyone probably goes through that at some stage. So yeah.
True. So do you feel like you know yourself better now?
Yeah, it's always a work in progress, right?
Well, in the latest episode, you said like you're a people pleaser.
Yeah, that's always something I feel like I'm trying to fight against. Yeah.
Where do you think that comes from?
I don't know. My therapist would probably say it was like the way I was raised.
Oh, okay.
Just kind of, doing whatever I need to just like keep everyone else around me like happy and content. And just making things easier for other people. Probably. But it is like, I don't know, like in my core. So it's like really hard for me to A, recognize it when I'm doing it and then B, do something about it. But yeah, I'm trying.
Good on you. So you're seeing a therapist? Yeah. How's that going?
Good. I started in November. It's like honestly been life-changing, like best thing I've ever done.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
I think the amount I've learned about myself, about my relationships, about what my upbringing was like and how my family functions. I think, just talking to someone who is not biased. I mean, everyone's biased, but it's kind of the least biased person you can have when they're not directly part of your life. And it's like kind of trained. It's really interesting kind of hearing their perspective on things or asking the difficult questions that no one else can ask you. It really gets you thinking. It's honestly been great. Like I think everyone should see a therapist.
What was I don't know if we can go past this, but what was some of the hard hitting questions that got asked?
One of them was definitely about the people pleasing. Like she would question, well, did you feel like you had a choice in that decision?
Right.
And she would say like, if you don't feel like you can say no, then it's not a choice. And I was like, I've never thought about it like that.
So if you feel like you can say no, if you feel like you can say no to the question, then you never had a choice. Is that what you said?
If you feel like you have to say yes to something, then it was never really your choice. It was the other person's choice.
Yeah, true, I see.
Yeah, which I think about quite a lot now when I'm like making decisions. I'm like, do I feel like I can say no to this?
Yeah. And do you try to say no, like more now?
Yep. I try. Yeah, it's hard, but yeah. Do you get that as well, or
kind
have
of
you
people
not?
pleasing things?
Yeah.
I feel like maybe a bit more when I was a bit younger. Yeah, I think maybe a bit more. Yeah, but haven't really thought about it as maybe in the framework of people pleasing as much. But I did notice some of the things I prefer this way. But if someone says they prefer this way, then I'm a bit more keen to go with their decision, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think, like you said, I think a lot of it is now. I'm like that now.
Yeah.
Right. But not to an extent that it worries me, at least for now. Yeah. I feel like I do that kind of picking my fight kind of thing. It's not a fight, but
you've always got to give and take anyway.
Give and take, yeah. And sometimes like I'm happy to, I do prefer to go this way because it will make the other person happy. And that adds to my joy kind of thing. Yeah. I don't know, like maybe just an excuse to. But I think one of the things I definitely improved on, I don't know if it's related to it, but like this podcast kind of thing and asking people for interviews and things. Because, it's especially with the format thing that I'm doing, it's a big commitment for people. But I think I kind of learned to ask. There's
put yourself out there.
Put myself out there. And I guess before I would have been too, I guess overthink the whole situation. And not that it's not true. It cannot be true, but I'll think like, like people might say yes just to be nice kind of things. And what if they say yes and then I can't make it happen? I can't make the conversation happen, or just a lot of overthinking, and which made me not do it. But like I think, I don't know if that's people pleasing, but that part of it like changed a little bit.
I think that's one of the really cool things about doing either a podcast or just a side hustle outside of work. Like, I think no matter what it is, you have to believe in yourself and you have to put yourself out there.
Oh, yeah. Definitely out of your comfort zone, right? Yeah.
Even if you're like selling a product, you've got to like put the money down to buy all the product initially, and you've got to back your idea. It's a commitment. Yeah. It's a commitment. Yeah. I think the other question she's asked recently that was like pretty hard hitting was, where do you think you get your self-worth from? Where do you that was a big one.
Self-worth from?
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
Can you share what you said to them, Nick?
Yeah, well, through that conversation, we kind of kind of discovered that I often get my self-worth from like how other people view me, particularly like parents or my manager or kind of people like that, which is why I like work so hard and I work so hard to prove myself. And ultimately, like, that's not healthy, obviously, because you can never like control that fully. Like that's in putting that in someone else's hands.
That's true. That is true.
So that was a really interesting conversation, and I've done a lot of reflection on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the solution? Ideally, right? Say there's a perfect person. What do you think should be the answer if that person gets asked?
I mean, I think for me, ideally, my self-worth would just come from me feeling happy and just being content with myself and my life and my relationships.
Right.
And it should come like internally, not from an external source.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that's possible? Is it like, because I'm thinking like the human are like social animals, right?
Yeah.
So there's a reason why we get a lot of pleasure from being accepted by others and a lot of hurt from being not accepted by others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you reckon that's from that angle?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's black and white. Like I feel like there's a spectrum from being like, I guess almost like narcissistic to the point where like people's feedback and things they say just don't affect you.
That's
like
true.
You just don't care about anyone versus like being a complete pushover and like doing anything to please other people.
True.
Like it's a very wide spectrum, and I think being at either end isn't necessarily a good thing. But I think just being happy and comfortable with yourself, but still being able to allow other people in is probably where I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there some active things that you are doing for that? Like active exercise and things?
Yeah, there's quite a few exercises she's given me, like a lot more around like trying to like calm yourself and like feel grounded.
Okay.
So like breathing exercises, meditation. But I've started practicing now, like at the end of the day, before I go to bed, telling myself like, you did a really good job today.
Yeah.
Which sounds stupid, but normally I would lie in bed and I'd think about all the things I haven't achieved.
You haven't? Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So now I'm trying to switch it around and be like, you know, I did as well as I could. Like, I'm proud of myself. I did a good job today.
Yeah.
Like the important things got done, or just trying to switch the narrative in my head.
Yeah.
And like, obviously I know from psychology and things that the narrative we tell ourselves can actually like change our reality. So yeah,
true. Yeah, that's is that, but there must be like part of your brain that says like, oh yeah, but like you did this.
Yeah, of course. Apparently it gets better. Apparently that voice kind of like quietens down. So yeah, we'll see.
So with the breathing exercise and things, like, is there something to do when you feel like your mood is being affected by external forces?
Yeah. I have like a tendency towards anxiety. So doing that like in the morning sets me up for my day better and makes me feel calm instead of trying to like rush to get to work.
Yeah.
And then, I guess any moments through the day where I am starting to feel a bit stressed, like those, like, I know, like, to me, it still sounds stupid, like doing breathing exercises, but
no,
like, there is like evidence that it actually helps you, right?
No,
so
it doesn't sound stupid. Have you heard of Wim Hof?
No.
Oh, Wim Hof. So Mr. Wim Hof, he's known as the Iceman. You might have, so he like breaks world records and stuff, and he's famous for like staying in like a cold environment for a long time. So like whether it be like ice bath, and he stayed there for hours, and he's got like Guinness World Records and stuff, and goes up cold mountains, like snowy mountains with just shorts and sandals kind of thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, he's an insane guy. But there's a Wim Hof breathing technique.
Ah, okay.
And I mean, a lot of people are believers, you know, that they swear by like the benefits of it. And
I've heard of like the cold shower thing as well.
This Wim Hof,
Right.
I mean, I don't know if he developed it,
Yeah.
but he's kind of the face of it, like in the modern times. Yeah.
Okay. Do you do cold showers?
Yeah, I'm
You
a
do?
big believer of cold
Wow.
shower. Yeah, I think because I get a lot of anxiety as well.
Yeah.
And cold showers help me with that immensely. So
Okay.
it could be something that you might pick up. Yeah.
I did try it for like, I think I did 3 mornings of it.
Oh,
but I'm
nice.
not normally a shower in the morning type of person.
Okay.
So it's kind of just like, screw having a cold shower. I don't want to start my day like that.
Oh man, Nick, if you started in the morning, that's the toughest time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you go just pure cold from the start?
No, I would put it on like as hot as I could handle
Okay.
and then switch it to cold.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Did you time it at all, or did you kind of feel
I
it?
would stay as long as I could, but it's definitely less than a minute.
Right,
I'm pretty
right.
sure it's supposed to be at least a minute to get the benefits, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think they say 3 minutes. In in a very, so the more uncomfortable you are,
Yeah.
the shorter it can be to get the benefits.
Right, okay.
And I think, and when we say like, usually like when we say like cold, it will be like ice cold.
Yeah.
So I think with the shower temperature, well, I stay in for 3 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like,
It's
sorry, Nick.
almost just like slightly torturing yourself every single morning.
Yeah, it's good though. It's a good. If you're gonna get tortured, it's a good torture.
Okay.
But the way I see it is, you are transferring the torture you're gonna get in here
Yeah.
to the body.
That's true.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know, it's about the mindset as well. You know?
Yeah.
Don't think about the torture you're getting. Think about the torture you're saving
Relieving.
yourself. Yeah. No, but yeah. So if you have shower in the evening, yeah, that's a bit more rough because I heard warm shower helps you sleep better.
Yeah.
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 So that's I used to have cold shower in the evening though, and that still
Right.
helped.
Okay.
Yeah, that still helped. I slept fine. Because I think one of the things is I think one of the things was the temperature itself was disturbing my sleep less than the anxiety that would have
Okay.
disturbed my sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, if that makes sense. Yeah.
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 Is there anything you do to try and sleep better?
These days, warm shower. I have a hot water bottle
Oh, yeah.
at the bottom of my feet. My feet get really cold, Nick. I've got like bad circulation or something. Like, do you get that? Do your feet and hands get cold? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
do they?
I have got my hot water bottle out the
Oh,
last
do you?
couple of weeks as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Is it like wrapped up in a blanket?
No,
Or-
I've got this wee like cover for it. It's like a wee like fluffy bunny.
Oh, that's cute. Wait, is it from Bed Bath and Beyond?
Yeah, I think it's from one of those places. Mum got it for me. Yeah.
I think that was one of the options I was looking at. Because recently I got like cover for it.
Oh, yeah.
It used to be just plastic and that's it.
Right.
But I've got pretty cool, and I've got like
Wow.
looks like the hot water bottles are like wearing like a sweater. It's like turtleneck. It folds and stuff.
Nice. I love my comforts like that.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do that, and reading helps me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I started reading actually, and it's especially reading fiction. I think non-fiction doesn't quite do it, but
okay.
reading fiction really helps me sleep.
Yeah. So you said you're reading the TikTok book.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the TikTok famous ones.
Yeah. Is it good? Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. I started off reading some like romance books.
Oh.
And I've kind of moved into like psychological thrillers now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know, like my Kindle just like recommended and like kind of switched me that way.
Sure.
And now it's getting to the point where I'm like, who's going to get killed next? And then I'm like lying there trying to sleep and I'm like thinking about it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's probably not like the best bedtime story.
Well, if it's helping you sleep, maybe that's maybe that's what your brain needs.
Maybe. I do get nightmares though.
Oh, about the book?
Yeah.
Okay, I think I need to switch it up. Was it nightmares or just dreams that are intense?
A mixture.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you dream?
Yeah, I think I almost dream every night.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I like, yeah, when you say romance, that's like my specialty. You know, like I love rom-com books.
Oh yeah.
I love rom-com movies anyway. Yeah, so I can, you know, recommend you some like
Sweet.
if you,
Sounds
yeah.
good.
No, you need to get Goodreads account, Nick.
Oh, I actually have one.
You have one?
Yeah.
Well, we need to connect on that.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
set up
yeah.
my like annual goal. thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Have you done that?
No, I haven't done it. I didn't even know it was an
It's
option.
quite satisfying.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like, is that, do you set up books you want to read and stuff?
Yeah. It's just the number of books you want to read for the year.
Oh, number, okay.
So I think I picked 15.
Okay.
And it was like my stretch goal,
Yeah.
but I'm already halfway through. So I'm like,
Damn.
okay, we're getting there.
You're right on track.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is that the Invisible Woman book that because you were reading that and you've kind of incorporated that in your podcast, right? Is that going to be a regular thing, like reading books to incorporate that in there?
Yeah, I'm trying to. I probably go more for like just reading stuff online because it's way quicker than reading a whole book, right? But yeah, I definitely want to read some more similar books.
Yeah.
To be able to, I guess share that on the podcast and things as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's a tough one to read.
It is
Before.
like every little paragraph like talks about something different and it's like very, very factual.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I think it's a book that everyone should read. Like it's really great, but you do have to take your time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
By the way, we've got a tradition on our podcast that I always go pee during it.
Great.
So, do you need to pee next?
I'm all good.
Are you all good?
Yeah.
Well, I'm all good for now, but
Okay.
I might as well. I will need to soon. But I wanted to bring that up that if you need to pee, or need a break or anything,
Sweet, thank you.
so let me know. Let me like this doesn't interrupt with the flow of the podcast. Oh man.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have, yeah. Well, I was gonna say, so Lizzo.
Ooh,
You're going to Lizzo.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm so
That should be a good
excited.
one. So you're a Lizzo fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Sorry.
All good.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm like the biggest fan, but I love her.
Yeah. She's such a cool
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, her confidence, like her outfits, she's just,
Yeah.
she's cool.
Man, have you seen, I haven't listened to her recent stuff, but I listened to, she probably has an album before this, but, what's one of her like more famous songs, Nick? Trying to think. I mean, there's one that everyone knows, but I can't remember the name of it.
My mind has gone blank.
Yeah. But shout out Lizzo. Shout out Lizzo.
If you're listening,
If you're listening, if you're listening, can you tell us some of your song titles? Well, I can't say I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
Just because I haven't listened to her stuff as much, but I'm a fan. I listened to one of your albums. Has she released any new album recently at all?
yeah, it was, I want to say mid last year.
Okay, I
her
haven't
last
listened to
album.
that. Yeah, the
Yeah.
one before that, Nick.
I don't know when that was.
Yeah, I think I listened to that one.
Yeah. I'm not like the biggest music person. Like I just listen to whatever. I'm not kind of like
true.
really big on like listening to this person's whole album
Right.
or like,
And
it's
analyze.
just whatever comes up, I'll
Yeah.
listen. Yeah.
Oh, so you don't know the chord progression of the Lizzo's fourth song,
No. Definitely not.
and you call yourself a fan? Now I just remembered the album's called "Cause I Love You."
Ah, yes.
Yeah. So that one's what I listened to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one was good. But so yeah, funny story with that. So I got that out of the library and the CD of it, and then and so there was like, I'm pretty sure it was 2019 because that's when I was like got into music, and I listened to everything, and then so I got Lizzo out, and then and I returned it. You know, I only get it out for 2 weeks or something, and I returned it, and only like maybe a month ago. At the library, I was trying to check something out, and it was giving me errors, and then so I had to do it at the counter, and they were saying that so it's showing an error because there is an item that you returned, but there's nothing inside it, and they were like, oh, let me see what it is, and it's they say it's Lizzo, cause I Love You by Lizzo, and they were like, yeah, so they said there's no CD inside it, and they were like asking me about it. Have you returned this? And I was like, they were all nice, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, but you know, I was like, this happened in 2019. I can't say for certain that I remember putting CD back in, but chances are I did.
Yeah.
Because I do check it, and there's only CD case that I've been using since then, and it's been empty. Yeah, like I use it for other stuff, and you know I don't.
Right.
You know, I know that.
So you didn't just like leave it.
I didn't just leave it, right? So I told them that, and then they were like, oh, okay, that's all good. Like they can see that it's from 2019. So let me double check that. So so it's library, right? You know, more often than not, pretty quiet place. So if you're having conversations, you might be in the other side of the room, but you can basically hear all the conversations going on, and it's at the Albany. It's at the Albany Village, so it's a pretty small library too, and there are people there and stuff. And then I don't know why I was being a bit embarrassed, but they were saying like, oh, like I mean the title of the album is kind of funny too, right? It's like cause with the CUZ, cause I love you, and they're kind of putting emphasis on that, and they were like, oh, like I was already feeling embarrassed, and they were like, oh yeah, let me check this. So they called the place where the CD that I returned to was at a different library. And they were like, hello. And you know, like people usually talk a little bit louder when they're on the call. Hello. Yeah. We're just going to double check like if the item's still there. It's the Lizzo. Cause I Love You with the C. I don't know why I was embarrassed.
You're just standing there like,
I was like, like I don't know if anyone else cared. It might have been just been me, but probably was, right? But I was like, oh no, like I felt myself going a bit red. But at the end of the day, it was all sorted, and they lost the CD somehow.
Right.
But I think they think someone stole it.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's a real big Lizzo fan out there who's listening to stolen Lizzo.
Maybe
CD.
they even work at the library.
They could be working at the library. But yeah. Did you see her? Have you seen like NPR Tiny Desk concerts? It's like a YouTube video thing.
No.
Oh, it's another thing. It's called like NPR, like the radio station, American radio station, and they do this Tiny Desk concert where they invite artists. It's so cool. It's so cool working there. So they invite to their office space, and artists just perform there. So people that get to, they obviously film it to be on YouTube, but people that get to be on there are so lucky because they have like Taylor Swift, Ed Sheeran. I'm pretty sure Ed Sheeran was on it. I want to say Stormzy, but I don't know if I'm lying that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but you know, all the big artists. Who are some of your favorites, Nick?
Oh, I did see Ed Sheeran when he came.
Okay, I think Ed Sheeran did that.
January, February?
Yeah. And a lot of big artists as well as small artists.
Yeah.
And Lizzo was on it.
Yeah.
And man, like she obviously is such a good singer, but her charisma was so charming.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
I think it's so interesting that she was in like a big orchestra before she became a singer as well.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, so she played the flute.
Yeah. So she actually played the flute like professionally.
Yeah.
Which I think is so cool. And then
so
she started doing like training for singing. And yeah, obviously she does that now. But she tweeted like recently being like, oh, I was actually like not happy with my performance. Like my coach and I had been working on this specific thing and I didn't do it very well.
Right.
I think it was just so cool because like someone like Lizzo, you're like, they can do no wrong. Like her singing is incredible, but the fact that she will like publicly say like, hey, I think I could have done better at this. It's just like, it's so cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just being able to be a bit vulnerable like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's inspiring, yeah.
Yeah, when you're like one of the most famous singers and you can like tell the world, hey, I could have done better.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's an interview by Lizzo. It's on YouTube. I love YouTube, Nick.
I can tell.
It's always on YouTube. She's being interviewed by a magazine or something. And it's an interview like it's like just her being filmed. Mm-hmm. Just her on the screen. And as the interview goes on, like she takes like items of her clothing, and I think it's about like, and I think the interview is to do with that, like body positivity and kind of accepting who you are kind of thing. And it's I messed this up. I think it's someone else.
Is it?
It's someone else, yeah. It's no, I messed this up.
Who was it?
It's a lady with similar body type as Lizzo.
Right,
Yeah, that's why I met. Yeah, I don't think it was Lizzo. I think it's have you heard of Tank and the Bangers?
No.
Oh, it's they're really great too. Tank and the Bangers, and it's Miss Tank, who's the lead singer of Tank and the Bangers. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But well, the point stands. Similar body type as Lizzo.
Yeah.
And then so Miss Tank that takes her items of her clothing.
Yeah.
And at the end, like I think her vibes is quite similar to Lizzo. They just seem very comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's inspiring.
So cool.
Such great singers too. And Lizzo too, and Tank and the Bangers definitely, their singing style or their the genre of the music, might not necessarily be the most it could be a bit different, it might be non-standard, which might make them a bit harder to, because it's by releasing music you're being vulnerable, right? But then being so comfortable doing that so confidently and just killing it,
I know.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
So cool.
Yeah. It's definitely very inspiring.
Yeah. For sure. I've heard like a counter argument to kind of body positivity, or not the counter argument, but more a kind of what I often hear. I guess arguing against body positivity, except especially with like maybe it's someone who's a bit bigger, promoting the idea that they are that some of them at least, they are doing it, and it could include a message that, because when you are overweight, it could affect your health, right? Yeah. So that, when you talk about body positivity, then I think there's an interpretation that means
that it kind of glamorizes, or
you don't have to work hard to lose the weight and things like that. So I don't know, because I think that's also true, right? Like if you're in bad health, and sometimes that kind of comes from being overweight. So I can definitely see what that opinion is trying to say. Yeah, what do you reckon?
Yeah, there's someone I've followed for years called, her account used to be called Healthy Chick 101. I think she was like born in Wellington and now she lives over in the Gold Coast. But her account like initially was about like being a bigger girl trying to lose weight.
Yeah.
And that over the years kind of morphed into like body positivity and her realizing like no matter what I do, I am like the size and the shape. And like I just want to like embrace that now. Yeah. But it's really interesting because like you read the comments and there's like so many different like, I don't know, opinions and everything. Yeah. And I think it was like a couple of years ago that she actually found out she has lipedema.
Oh, what's that?
So that's when, I don't really know like the scientific like explanation, but it's just when like fat in your body kind of builds up and like sits in certain positions, and no matter what exercise or anything you do, unless you get it surgically removed, like that fat is like sitting there.
Oh, okay.
And I know it can be quite painful. You can get like quite swollen. Yeah. She like goes and gets like lipedema, like massages and like all sorts of things. So it's like definitely like can be quite an uncomfortable thing to have, I think.
Yeah.
But for her, she kind of realized all those years she was like trying to diet and lose weight and exercise and be like what we would call like healthy, I guess. When like medically she was never going to lose that weight. And I think that's quite interesting because it kind of puts a different spin on it.
That's true.
Yeah.
I think that's the counter argument towards that. The other counter argument. I think it's in that case it almost becomes like kind of your, maybe like your face where without surgery you can't really change it, and there is so much you can do. So being comfortable in that, it's important. Like promoting that.
And I think the other thing is like our society isn't set up for people to be healthy. Like there's all of these like things we can indulge in and like get really quickly, or like, I don't know, like I feel like so many companies just play into like people's bad habits, whether that's like in terms of food or like smoking or drugs or whatever it is. Like there will be a brand for everything that will like convince you need this. So like no wonder we have people that aren't like what society calls healthy, because there's all these products and advertising and everything out there. Like they really play on the psychology, right?
Having said that, then like there's also a lot of kind of exposure to like fitness and gyms and and things like that too. So it's because one kind of extreme way would be to say, okay, no one can have sugar, no one can smoke. And I guess that's kind of like that with marijuana or any other drugs. And obviously we can smoke, we can drink, as well as we can exercise and do other things, play football or whatever. So I also heard someone say like we should just legalize all the drugs too, like meth and so on. But at the same time, just educate people on it so that if they make choices, it's their choices. But I don't know what to think about that because I haven't really done drugs myself, so I don't have personal experience. But I think, what do you reckon, Nick?
I don't know. I think you can say like it's someone's choice, but is it as easy as that? Because can they say no to that, right? Like if they have a reliance on a certain substance, that it's very unlikely they're going to say no to, and then you're like advertising this or making it more accessible to them. Like, is it really a choice, or were they just going to have it anyway? I think it becomes like kind of philosophical almost. Like, people say like starting a podcast or you working at a corporate job, maybe it wasn't your choice, but like just because maybe how you brought up or where you were born and so on, maybe there was no other choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think social media is another interesting one, like people's addiction to social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you manage that, Nick? Because especially with your podcast, you kind of have to be on social media, right?
Yeah. I don't use TikTok because I know I would get addicted to it very quickly. I use social media, and I've now actually just this week I've set up on the iPhone you can set up like different focus kind of periods. So now between 8 and 5 on weekdays, I don't get notifications from anything other than calls and email.
Oh, cool.
Which stops me from checking social media for the most part, but it's hard. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to set up specific times of day, like maybe in the morning and the evening where I check it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like once you start scrolling, like it's game over.
It's a slippery slope from there. Yeah.
And it's like, how do you be productive on social media? Like if you are doing, say, research for your business or whatever, how do you make sure while you're on it, you are being productive and doing what you set out to do versus just mindlessly scrolling?
Yeah, for sure. So is it scrolling that you find tough not doing?
I think particularly on like the reels. I think once you start, because it just automatically goes to the next one and the next one, and they're so short, so they keep our attention span and like
and some of them are good.
A
lot of them are so good at capturing our attention,
especially the ones that like it gets all the way to the end but it loops back to the beginning and you don't even realize it started again until you're like a bit more into it and you're like, oh wait.
So what's your reels like? Is it like because I get a lot of comedy, I get a lot of like Pokemon for content. I click that's another thing with algorithm. I click on one Pokemon and I get millions of other Pokemon videos.
Before, I think it was a lot more mixed, but since we started the Instagram page, like even on my personal page, a lot of the reels have changed to that type of content now. So more like, I don't know, stuff based on work or running a business or like the inspirational kind of reels. True. Which I don't necessarily want to be seen like in my downtime.
Man, your reels are really good. The editing of it. And
it's all Amandeep. She does a great job.
Amandeep? Oh, cool. Do you reckon she'll be interested to be on this show?
Yeah, I'm sure she would.
You think so?
Yeah, she's always got a lot to say.
Does she actually?
Yeah, she's one of my friends who like when I like catch up with her, I haven't seen her in ages, which doesn't happen anymore. But like back in the day, you just have to let her talk for like 30 minutes straight and let her like just say everything she needs to say. And then you can be like, so how are you?
That's ideal.
She's like a very passionate person.
Oh, that's ideal.
No, I love that about her.
No, I think in the last episode, you talking about like self-branding. I could tell like things she was saying was genuine. It felt genuine. I'm sure it was, like you said, a lot of it there's some scripts or structures to it, but it flowed so naturally too. And I thought good banter between you two, and good passion from, was.
I'll let her know that.
Awesome to see that. that. How are you doing, Nick?
Good.
Yeah?
Good.
Are you sure? You had a tough week this week.
Yeah, it's been pretty busy.
Yeah. Should we take a short break and so I can go to the bathroom and stuff?
Sounds good.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back. We'll keep everything rolling now. We're back.
Hello.
Well, I'm back. So far, every podcast, Nick, has been, there's been a pee break. So, has to be done.
Fair enough.
I have a suggestion for a potential topic for your podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What about for women that don't work in corporate, but maybe there's a topic could be some of the things that you obviously your expertise is in women in corporate, but some of the people that are not women that are not in corporate, but advices you can give for them.
Right, for people wanting to move into corporate, or
more
just
not just in general, like because I remember Kita, like at the beginning I was talking to her about your podcast, and then she said she wonder like how much it would be relevant for her. So maybe it's something that kind of bridges that, get a bit more audience,
Interesting. I had a really interesting conversation with a friend who she kind of mentored us, I guess, when we were starting this, which was cool. But she was like working on a project with one of her friends who hasn't worked in corporate. And this friend is like very creative and very passionate, but my friend Grace like quickly realized she's actually learned a lot of skills in corporate around structure and kind of how to plan things and like how to prioritize and kind of set out a process and all of these types of skills that her friend didn't have. She kind of, it made her realize that she has learned quite a lot from working in like a corporate office, which I thought was quite interesting. Yeah.
That would be cool. That would
and
be,
I mean, I think your type of work will probably be like learning very similar, like broad skills. Whether it's like a big office or a small one, I think it's still very similar.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely. Could be an episode.
No, I'll add that to the list.
That's good.
Better than ChatGPT.
Bit of Notion in there, And I was gonna ask you, Nick. You used to dance, right?
Yeah, but a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Like Latin dancing.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So growing up, I did like actual dancing, like competitions and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I tried some salsa lessons last year, which was interesting.
Cool. What dance did you do growing up?
Like ballet, jazz, hip hop, those.
Sure. Quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was definitely a bit more like pressure.
More pressure?
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't want to do it?
I loved it,
Yeah.
but it got to the point when I started high school where I kind of had to choose between taking dance more seriously and pursuing that as a career or staying in school.
Right.
So it kind of got to the point where I had to choose whether I stay with it or quit.
Yeah.
And I chose to do school.
So you were in it?
Yeah. Like the whole dance moms thing. That was, that vibe.
Damn, do you ever wonder, like, what if kind of thing? Your life would have been so different, right?
It would have, but a couple of the girls who did decide to pursue dancing went over to Australia to these like ballet schools. And during COVID, apparently Australia kicked all the New Zealanders out.
Oh, is that right? Yeah.
So they had to come back and then go to uni, and they were starting like quite a few years later, which like isn't a bad thing because they went and pursued something really cool.
Yeah.
But I think I probably would have had to end up in like either a corporate job or some sort of something similar. Yeah.
True. And how did you find Latin dancing?
It was cool. It was very different because it's partner dancing
and improvisational.
Yeah, well, it's actually the male who leads.
Yeah.
So as the female, you have to be really good at picking up on the certain cues, like the way they move the hands or whatever it is, to know like what they're going to get you to do next, whether that's like a turn or whatever. So it involves a lot of thinking. Like when you're doing the dancing, you're not just dancing. Like I feel like when you're dancing by yourself, like solo,
right?
you can kind of just do what you want to do your own style and
Right.
things. But with partner dancing, you've got to be thinking like, what are they doing next? What are they doing next?
Yeah. Someone said, oh, well, Joe Rogan said it.
Oh, my friend said.
So, yeah, what my friend Joe said, he said, conversation is like dancing. Yeah, it's like, you're trying to see what that person is doing. You're trying to see if you have anything to say for it. Or you just want to let them talk or... Yeah,
Interesting.
that's pretty art of, feel like that was a very artistic way of describing
Yeah,
it.
it is. Interesting.
Yeah. But no, we should I've done a bit of do you do much salsa? Or like these days?
I actually caught up with my friends from the class last night. We've decided we want to do like maybe the June, July class and get back into it.
Get back into it.
Yeah.
No, so I do a bit of Latin dancing.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Like
I didn't know that.
I don't want to say I do it, but I used to do it a lot. Not a lot, but like take lessons and stuff. These days, occasionally I go to just the socials.
Yeah, we should go to one together.
We should go, yeah. There's one in, have you been to many socials?
No, the dance school I was going to did socials on Sundays.
Oh, the Viva, right?
Yeah. So I went to that and I ended up at Revelry at a salsa night once with my colleagues who do not know how to dance at all. So they were just awkwardly standing there.
Oh, man, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Well, I went with Boris once.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And it was his first time.
Yeah.
But good on him because he was like, oh, Pascal, I want to be out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
I was like, dancing will get you out of comfort, especially Latin dancing.
Yeah.
You have to, especially as a man, where we have to ask someone.
Yeah.
At the start, it's very hard.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, if you want to be out of comfort zone, I'll take you to the moon, and we went together.
Yeah.
And so we did the class. So this is where I think we should go to, Nick. It's in Grayland Community Center.
Ah, okay.
It's on Fridays. Every other Friday. And the lesson starts at 7:30, and then the social starts at like 8:30 or 9ish.
Right.
And the good thing about it is it goes on only till 11.
Yeah.
So that's like the last song kind of thing. And that's it. Everyone goes home. Whereas all the other ones, like, it starts at 10 or 11.
Yeah,
goes on till like...
That's rowdy, eh?
It's rowdy, yeah.
It's a rowdy bunch.
Yeah, sometimes you get home, it ruins the next day and stuff.
Yeah,
This one, like, pretty chill. Like, 11's the last song. Yeah, it's and really good floor. A lot of space to dance. Good mixture of people.
Yeah.
Really nice vibes. So yeah, I think that one I can recommend. But that's the one that I went with Boris.
Yeah. What did he think?
He enjoyed the class.
Yeah.
And he was good too. Like, I remember when I first went, as stiff as a plank, like a plank trying to move. Boris did it.
Yeah.
Oh man, so doing the basic steps in salsa, right? Going back and forth. And then so yeah, they told us the steps with the feet, and then his arms naturally came up, and I saw him grooving. And I was like, man, he's good. He's
natural.
Good. He's a natural. And then so we did the lessons, which like I saw him and he did well. But the social, yeah, he had a hard time like asking. Yeah, which is totally understandable.
What I struggle with the socials is that everyone that you dance with is at a completely different level and is a completely different style.
Yeah,
so
hell yeah.
Obviously, as you go to more, you kind of learn how to adapt. But it was quite hard for me, I think, and they'd get me to do something I hadn't learned in class, and then you'd be like, "Well, where am I going?"
As a people pleaser, does that come into play? Like, oh, if I don't do the moves correctly, then...
There was actually this guy in our class, which was the main reason we stopped going, who was quite rude. And really? He would straight up tell you, like, why are you in the intermediate class? That you should go back to beginners. Really? And, oh, you're doing this wrong. You should do it this way. Like, really critical. And it got to the point where we were like, we're done with this.
Yeah. Also, it wasn't just you either.
No. Yeah. Oh, well, just, some other people I've met through doing it. But I think that was quite tough for me. 'Cause I feel
Yeah.
like I'm just doing it for fun. Like, I don't want to be good at it. Like, I don't want to be like a professional salsa dancer or anything. It's just a hobby. Like,
And I think even if you are doing it to be a professional, I think there are different, you can still say those things without being mean, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or maybe don't say it unless that person asks for your feedback.
100%. And everyone there is doing it for a hobby, right? Like you said, just for fun. So yeah, I think, there's like laws of physics, whatever, and like thermodynamics, like law of thermodynamics and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think one of the laws of universe is in every class there's someone like that.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, somehow.
Yeah. I think there's something really cool in like having a hobby as an adult that you're like kind of terrible at, but you do it anyway.
Yeah. No, I
Like-
think so.
Because I feel like, I don't know, at least for me through high school and uni, like everything I did, like I wanted to be good at and I wanted to like make something of it. And now just like going to the old like salsa class, I'm like, it doesn't matter whether I'm good or not. Like it's just for fun.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good to be bad at something.
Yeah. It humbles you.
It humbles
a
you.
lot.
For sure, yeah. It's good for character development.
Yeah, I reckon.
But I think it also goes to show that you're not sticking in your own lane kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't be good at everything.
No.
And if you are, you're not going
You're
out of
trying
your
something
lane.
new.
Yeah. So, good on you, Nick. But it'll be fun. We should do it.
Yeah, I'd be keen.
Yeah, for sure. Guess how long we've been going for?
Couple of hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. 2 hours, 23 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What they because you've got plans after this. It's 11:30 Nick.
Yes.
Yeah. Your plans at 1:12?
At 1,
At
but
1?
Keita wants to bus
Oh,
to the
okay.
shore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you meeting her?
I'm driving home,
Oh, driving home. Yeah.
and then we're gonna hop on the buses.
Oh, okay. From there.
Yeah.
Yeah. True. Yeah. So probably good time to. I don't want you to be late. But where are you going? Bottomless lunch, right?
Yeah.
That's
Should
exciting.
be good. I haven't done one in ages.
What's up? I haven't been to one.
Have you not?
No. What is it? Is it buffet kind of setting?
No, it's not bottomless food. It's the drink.
Oh, okay.
I know. I'm like, I would almost prefer like bottomless food as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you like get your meal and then they come around and like occasionally top up your drinks.
Oh, okay.
Depending where you go, it can be like better or yeah.
Have you been to this one?
No, it's over in Taka.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's to celebrate something.
Yes, a friend's birthday.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good to have you here, Nick. Actually, let me just scan my preparation notes. I think we touched on everything.
Everything.
No, we have to touch on
No?
this. Sorry, Nick. Let's make it quick. You have another another page you're pursuing, or like that you are kind of managing on Instagram.
Oh, the cake one?
Yeah, the cake one.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's happening with that, Nick?
Not much anymore. I during uni I got really into cake decorating, like really deep down the YouTube hole. There's a big cake decorating YouTube hole, and I got stuck down it. And then I brought all the equipment and everything and started like making cakes, and then people kind of started asking for me to make them cakes. So turned it into like a little business.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and then I quickly realized that it's just like it's like a business that requires so much of my time and skill that I was always just making minimum wage on the cakes, even though I was charging like $100 plus.
Right, just because it takes ages to make one.
Yeah. So yeah, I kind of quickly realized that's probably not the direction I'd want to go in, but it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that is
like
cool.
again, like using the creative side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what takes so long? Is it the decorating side, or is it the baking itself of the cake?
It's the decorating. So you bake. I was doing like really tall layered cakes. So I would like bake the cake. You then have to wrap it in Glad wrap, put it in the fridge to like settle for a day.
Right.
Pull it out, make the icing.
Yeah.
And then you stick it up with the icing, put it back in the fridge, let it set. Pull it out. You do what's called the crumb coat around the outside just to like stop crumbs getting into the next layer. So you coat it, put it back in the fridge. Once that's set, pull it out, and then you can do the nice layer on the outside.
Right? Yeah.
Put it back, let it set. And then finally you pull it out and you can decorate it.
So
it takes hours and hours and hours.
Oh my goodness. So when you put it in the fridge, how long does it go in for?
Normally I would try and do it over like 4 days and like do that like thing that evening, put it in the fridge. Yeah. And then the next day after uni, pull it out and do the next thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I had like a whole spreadsheet on like the cost of every ingredient and like all of that, and then like to make a different, like you have to offer different sizes, right? So I had to figure out exactly how many ingredients for each size of cake, like made like a wee like menu and stuff. It was very fun.
Pre-Notion days.
Yeah, pre-Notion days.
That does sound fun. But yeah, I can see that like there will be your full time if you were to make something out of it. Like
one of my colleagues' wives actually does it, like on top of looking after her child and her job. Yeah. But she doesn't offer it to many people now because she's just realized the same thing. Like it can be a bit stressful.
That sounds stressful. Yeah. There's a thing with like I don't know, maybe there's a name for it, but that's something you can't, I guess you can teach someone, but it's not like, press these buttons. Coding, for example, it's, reproducible. Someone else can learn it and do it. Yeah. And they can, in other cases, a lot of it, copy and paste my code and fix a little bit and there you go. Yeah. With these things, it's a creative work, so it's so tough to do that.
Yeah. There is someone I followed from her early days called Just Jess Bougie Bakery. Okay. I think it was called Just Jess back in the day, but she kind of just started making cakes on top of her full-time job, and now she has 2 bakeries in Auckland and she hires all these staff and like does the donuts and everything. Yeah. And I was like, oh, in another life, like that would be cool.
So say like in another world you did it and then you now work full-time owning bakery or maybe working at the bakery as well. Would you have been as happy as you are now?
Ooh, I think it would have been hard going straight to running a business. Yeah. Like, I think there's a lot of skills I've learned in my current job that would be great to apply to running a business. But I think straight out of uni, it would have been quite tough. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
Because you did have a lot of passion for baking. Yeah. And decorating, obviously.
Yeah. So I think what I would have really enjoyed was like being able to grow something, like grow the business and like look for opportunities and things. Yeah, like, that's what I love about working in corporate is like looking for the next opportunity and like trying to develop my skills and everything. Yeah, that's like what motivates me.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Is that are you thinking? Do you have like a long-term plan? Is that leading into like having your own business, like in the future at all, or?
I think working in commercial, you really see how much hard work goes into running a business. Is that right? For sure. Yeah. So I'm not too sure. I guess like we're just planning to kind of see where She Takes on Corporate goes and see if we can build that up into something. Yeah. But I think it's at least a good starting point.
Yeah, for sure.
And we've already learned heaps from it. So yeah. But no, I do love my job. So yeah. That's true. Definitely gonna stick in commercial for a while. Yeah. Yeah.
How about this? So say She Takes on Corporate takes off. Mm-hmm. So when it takes off,
when
you have to decide doing that full time or doing that still part time and working at the corporate, what would you do?
We have actually connected with someone in Australia, and she is a head of people and culture at a company, and she has started doing consulting for helping leaders become like better leaders and management styles and all of that. And she started a podcast as well.
Cool.
And she's actually doing job sharing for her corporate job now, so that she can work less days and still have like a leadership position, but do her side hustles, which kind of gets her creativity and drive and things going. So I'd love to think in the future we could do like a 4-day work week or job sharing or something like that. And then you can pick and choose how many days you spend on each thing. Like, I think that'd be the dream.
Yeah, no, that would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. What about you?
What about me if when this takes up? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, I used to want to own my own business. But yeah, it was just a vague dream, really. And I love what I'm doing now, but I don't think I love it as much as other people. Like, I have a colleague, so, you know, like I said, I love YouTube, but like all the things I watch YouTube is not data related. Yeah. Which is, you know, my 9 to 5, right? But there are people who kind of, you know, obviously doing data things 9 to 5, goes home and then watches kind of YouTube talks on the latest technology in the space. Yeah. And that kind of makes me...
And that's not you.
That's not me, yeah. Like, I love what I do, but I'm happy that I do 9 to 5 and I enjoy working every day. But I'm happy to end it at 5 and do other things after that. Yeah, having said that, yeah, I don't know, like doing the podcast, maybe I feel like if given the opportunity, I feel like I could do it because I've, at least with the kind of the theme of it, I've made it quite fluid, right? I can interview anyone. So at least right now, I mean, you know, acknowledging that I'm still in the honeymoon period with the idea. But at least with the other things I've pursued, I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's kind of nice being your own boss and just...
Yeah, definitely. And having my own direction and things like that.
I actually listened to a podcast yesterday from Hot Girls Code. It's a couple of girls in Auckland who've recently started this podcast, and it was about like what it means to be a woman in tech.
Okay.
And they were saying like their male colleagues just live and breathe like coding.
Is that right? Yeah.
They were like, it makes them feel like lesser if they're not working on like a project on the side in their spare time or like watching the latest updates and stuff. Which I guess is similar to what you were saying. It's your job, but like you're not necessarily going to like spend all of your spare time doing that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely feel that. I like it's kind of makes you think a little bit about kind of I don't know, first thing is if you're in the right path, and because you know, long term they are gonna be better at the things that you are working on. So, and they will more often than not translate to them making the career, you know, progression a bit further. Yeah. Like, I guess this generally speaking, you know, there's obviously other things like soft skills and other things like that. So given that being equal, you know, so so I do think about that. But right now, I don't know. I think I am happy that I'm like, for example, pursuing this, you know, it's obviously not data related, but this is something I enjoy and I pursue it. Yeah. So I guess I had been a bit insecure, but I guess these days I've been a bit more secure. Right. Yeah. So I think it's important to then ask yourself, what do I do instead? And in my, like, what worked for me was asking what I like instead of it, and what I do about it, I guess. Yeah.
I mean, you'll be learning so many soft skills even through doing this that other people just won't get the opportunity to kind of develop, right?
I hope so. But for me this is I found that like whatever I pursue, it just has to be fun for me.
Yeah.
For it to be like a long-term thing and for me to really put my effort in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm happy. I'm really grateful that I find it interesting. I find a lot of things like interesting and genuinely curious about things. And when like, I think when you started your podcast, like, to me, that's so cool. Like, when someone pursues like what they are passionate about, and and you know, seeing people thrive in that, it's like that's so cool.
It's cool, like,
obviously, I don't know much about women in corporate, but really, seeing you makes me curious about it, and what I learned from it, and conversations we shared today, for example, it makes me feel a bit fulfilled. Like, it's very fulfilling.
I think it is really cool seeing the people around you just be really passionate about what they're doing, and like whether they do it long term or not, or whether it becomes something bigger or not, like 100%. It doesn't matter.
100%. It's so good to see like people, you know, more often than not, getting themselves out of the comfort zone. And doing something they like and what they enjoy, they're passionate about. So cool. And it inspires me so much too.
I'm looking forward to seeing where your podcast goes as well.
No, I'm looking forward to it too. You know, we have to get deep on this next. Well, so I mean, we talked about like ending it like 30 minutes ago. So you have to get somewhere, Nick. I really appreciate you being here.
Thanks for asking me to be on it.
Thank you for being here. It's my pleasure, and you've been such a good guest. And is there anything, the social media and the podcast you want to share for millions of listeners?
I guess if you work in corporate or as something you're interested in, then give us a follow. She Takes on Corporate on Instagram, and our podcast She Takes on Corporate as well.
And that's on Spotify and
yes, it's on all platforms.
Okay.
Platforms.
What kind of the distribution you use?
Spotify for podcasters.
Anchor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it
used to be called Anchor. Yeah.
Cool.
And then that just distributes it out to most of the platforms.
Yeah, cool. It's free, right?
Yeah.
It's what I use too. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, everyone should check it out. It's it's even if you're not a woman or not in corporate, it's a fun listen. Well, thanks, Nick. And
thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.